Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Trigger episode of Iron Panther Presents. Today, we shall be discussing Them on Amazon, 10-episode limited series. I say trigger warning because I'm pretty sure before this video is over, I'm going to say something that's going to make y'all want to leave this channel. But hey, it was good while having you. Everybody's talking about Them. Even my coworkers, Sharice was like, David, did you watch Them? You got to know what's going on. I was like, what the hell is this? Anyway, what is it about? It's about a family, the Emroys, who are in 1953 in segregated America, who leave North Carolina after the wife, Lucky, was raped and her son, Chester, was murdered. That causes the father to say, the best way to fix this racial situation is to send my family without talking to them to another all-white neighborhood. So we'll probably deal with more racism. And then they get to California. Compton, a white Compton. I didn't know anything about that, but I was like, all right, let's see what this is going. And then not only are they dealing with racist neighbors, they are dealing with a racist demon. I didn't even know that was even a thing. Like, demons can be racist too? I was like, I guess only in America. And ultimately, they overcome their white oppressors in the end with murder and whatnot and flames and stuff. But anyway, there's a lot of things going on. Stacey, let's start with you. What are your thoughts as we watch this thing?
It's very hard to watch. Like, I struggled through the first 5 episodes. And then after that, it was kind of smooth sailing. But the first 5 was like, oh my God, where is this going?
Yes, I find myself also asking that question. Why am I watching this? Why am I still watching this? Well, but I had to, right? It's almost like if you black, you got to watch it. So I was like, all right, let's just get through it. Chris, how about you? What brought you to this and made you stay in it?
No, I mean, horror is literally my all-time favorite genre ever. So, so I definitely don't miss a chance to watch anything, especially if you're talking about like Amazon series, So I'm definitely gonna be on board for something like that. I'm especially just kind of coming right off of Lovecraft Country and stuff like that. So, so that's kind of what kind of got me kind of interested, and then the fact that it, because I've heard stories about like even talking about the West, because a lot of people have the misconception of California. Like when you think of the West Coast and you think of segregation. Oh no, when you think of segregation, you don't think of the West Coast. And most like before the great migration of Black people, where Black people literally kind of spread out to the Midwest and to like California and places like that. Places like West, like other areas didn't really see themselves as racist, but it was more because there wasn't Black people for them to be seen as racist. So I did like the fact that they did kind of put that into the air, because you typically, when you see a Black family move somewhere, especially like from somewhere in 1950s, 40s, 30s, whatever, they're always in Mississippi, Alabama, Atlanta, somewhere down the South, and this one is actually in California, Compton, which some people I know probably have raised eyebrows, but Compton wasn't always Black. Surprise, surprise. Well, actually, it's not even Black anymore now. If you go to Compton lately, it's mostly Hispanic. It's not even Black. You know what I mean? So, but before Black people, there were white people. Matter of fact, George H. Bush had spent some time in Compton. You know what I mean? The same Compton that you see Dr. Dre and Eazy-E chatting about. So, so that's why I watched. That's why I watched it. However, I was a little afraid to watch it too, because once again, as much as I love watching Black films, and I understand Hollywood, and I understand what it takes when you're doing a Black movie, any Black film, I was once again, I didn't want to always see again Black people struggle, like a Black struggle, like stuff from slave, you got 12 years. Either someone has to be in shackles and whatnot, or Black people dealing with oppression and whatnot. And I understand, because you look at the Black films that do not deal with that, they don't generate money. You know what I mean? Unless you got Tyler Perry in the dress. That's about it. Literally, that is literally it. If it's not, if it's anything like
that oppression is cross-dressing.
no, I mean, but like black people, like the movie The Photograph. What was the movie that just came out? I mean, about the Black Panther leader.
Oh, Messiah, the Messiah.
Yeah, the Black Messiah.
Yeah.
Great film, amazing film. I mean, and granted, yes, it did have to deal with like aggressive and whatnot, but the movie itself wasn't just. It was more of a biography on him. I mean, it didn't generate that. It didn't do the numbers. It didn't do the numbers, and that's an Oscar-nominated movie. You know what I mean? So people love seeing black people struggling, and I don't know if it has to deal with some white people dealing with white guilt, and then they just feel like, let's do it. You know what I mean? Or just I don't know. It just, for me, it's just, I'm slightly kind of like, okay, I'm over it. You know what I mean? I mean, I get it though, because that's what people want. But I don't know. I mean, I just want to see some. I want to see some Cosby, the Cosby's type stuff. You know what I mean? But people don't want that because it's too boring. They're like, no, these black people need to struggle.
Or it's not a genuine black story. And you bring up, anyway. So with this story, you got racial oppression. You also got gender inequality. You got relationship. You got a lot of like internal relationship issues. You got trauma. You got sexual trauma. You got LGBTQ representation for no damn reason. You got a lot of stuff going on like in this series that they were trying to get through, right? So with the obvious white supremacy, black oppression story once again came from black people. It says that black people were involved at the executive producer level. You know what I'm saying? That with the North Carolina like situation, right? The rape and murder was just senseless. Like there was no story to explain like who this woman was, who these people were, like why did they do it to this family? Like this was premeditated. Like they waited, for Henry to leave to spring their attack. And I'm like, that takes effort and planning. Like they went after this family, but there was no explanation of why. And since it was such a major part of this story, like you would think they would give us something to say there was some kind of land dispute or whatever, because she starts off by saying this is a nice house. Like who are you? Like you think there was something there. Like I wanted something to explain the senselessness of why it happened, as opposed to these white people just randomly walking down the street and said, I'm just gonna rape and kill these people. Like
I think that's what it was. I think they were just crazy because even if you saw them walk off, you noticed even the woman, she was trolloping, like she's trolloping off like that, like lifting up like her skirt and just like skipping, and they looked really, they were just, I think they were crazy. But no, I understand. Yes, like it needs a little, maybe I guess it needs a little bit more. But man, I hate to say it, but you talking about rednecks of the South in the 1940s, 50s. You don't really need a backstory on why they terrorized,
I disagree, because then it just turns into, then that's a stereotypical racism.
Well, it's not stereotypical if it actually happened. I mean, if you had stuff like, how's it a stereotype of you have? I'm not now. Granted, I'm slightly agreeing with you in the simple fact that I would like more, but what I'm trying to say is shit like that with no context whatsoever actually happened. You know what I mean? With no context. You know what I mean? That's the shit. That was part of the reason, even after Jim Crows and whatnot, that was part of the reason why black people everywhere started leaving, because of bullshit that was going on. That's why that's why it's called the Great Migration. You know what I mean? So it was, so I'm agreeing with you.
I got you. All right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. So what are your thoughts?
I agree it was random. And it wasn't like that was the reason they moved. The reason they moved was because he got that job. So had it been like, okay, this happened, and then okay, I'm gonna apply for this job so we can get the hell up out of here. But that wasn't what happened. It was already in play. It's just that happened, and then he got the phone call. So I don't think that it was the reason they moved west. It was just the opportunity that he got for the job.
Yeah. And again, they did not put a lot of time on this, but the fact that the crazy people, they were clearly crazy. I mean, I agree with that.
And then they waited over an hour because he had left, and they were like, oh, your husband left with the two girls over an hour ago. So they stayed there and waited for the dog to come. I mean, I don't know. That's weird. I'm sure stuff like that happened in real life, but as you're telling like a movie story, you would want it to be a little bit more cohesive.
Yes, that they were targeted, that they had some type of history.
And then it was almost like they wanted it to be, because at one point I was like, well, did Lucky kill the kid? Like, did she snap and just kill the kid and just made up this reasoning for it? But no, it really happened like that. So maybe it was so absurd that they wanted us to think like, oh, maybe she just made it all up and she was the killer all along.
And then, so the idea that the three of these people were like, oh, we got to wait for the husband to leave because he's such a threat that we can't take him, is totally negated by the end of this series when a man just walks into this man's house with a bat and knocks him on top of the head, and he's tied up to a chair pretty easily. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't that big of a physical threat. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't even, if he was home and they just would have did a home invasion and he had to sit there, you know, and watch his wife get raped and his son get murdered. Like, that would have been, again, completely act of random violence. These people just happened to be walking down the street and see these people. Like, I would have took it better. It would have made more sense than for them to be like, we're gonna wait for said husband that we don't know to leave, and the daughters not knowing when they were coming back. But then you fast forward to who actually killed Chester, right? So when you see the fact that therefore when when they're trying to leave the house, Henry is the one walking outside holding his son's bones. If it fades to black, and now all of a sudden Lucky is the one locked up for killing her son. I'm like, how the fuck did they get there? Like, to me, Henry told these cops who called the cops? Let's just back this up. Who called the cops? Who told the cops that it was actually Lucky that hurt the child and not Henry? Henry at some point said, my wife killed my kid at some point. Okay, for them to be like, now we gotta lock her up. Like, how did we get there? There's no explanation for that. Like, it didn't make any damn sense. So I'm like, how? I was like, wait. So then, anyway, then the issues of women's roles, no matter whether you're black or white, throughout this series, women were secondary to the men, regardless of their race. So even with Henry and Lucky, Henry decided as the man, we are moving, you know, to Compton. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he's the one that knew about the contract. He's the one to put his name on the contract. He didn't talk to his wife, who just got raped, whose son just got murdered. He sees her going through all this trauma, and he's making like very little to no effort to address this issue, and is bringing his entire family into this new racially situation that he had to know was going to happen at some level. And I'm like, where is the talking with that to me?
Yeah, I feel like both him and the daughters are kind of suspicious of her. You know what I mean? They're like, okay, we heard the story that she gave, you know, and yeah, we want to believe our mother, we want to believe Lucky, but some of it's just kind of weird, and then the way she's acting is really weird and whatnot. And I think I kind of took it as Henry just trying to be like, okay, you know what, screw this. I'm just going to get us the hell out of this, like get out of this town, get out of this. I got this new job over here, and they're paying me how much money? You know what I mean? Oh yeah. Oh, and you got a cousin that lives out there too, so great. You know, it's gonna be perfect. And so I kind of took it as that, in the sense of there wasn't going to be no conversation to be had, because his wife was like, she was out of it. She was at that point. It was like there was no, like, it was like it was like basically trying to conversate with him when he's thinking about, you know, the Agent Mustard, you know, during the whole, you know, in the war or whatnot. There was no conversating with him, so she just kind of was being quiet and whatnot. And I feel like he was just kind of like, you know what, I'm just going to take the preemptive step and move my family out of this horrendous area where this horrific act happened, whether my wife was telling the truth or not. You know what I mean?
I see. Stacey, what do you think?
Like I said, at one point I did think Lucky did it. And I was thinking like, oh, well, they have family out west. Maybe they'll move with the family, or maybe the family was also in this community doing the reverse gentrification type thing. But I mean, I get that families were doing this because if they didn't do it, Compton would still be white. So there were families that just, it was like, fuck it, we going in here. We gonna live amongst white people and hope for the best. And, you know, maybe they did think, oh, California isn't that bad. But then they had family in white. So they should have known the situation that they were going to. I was joking with David, and I was like, why didn't they look it up on Zillow and see what the neighborhood looked like? And I was like, oh, it was the 50s. There's no
1953.
Zillow. But
I'm done.
I mean, it like I said, it shows the levels of racism and then patriarchy, and then okay, the women, my husband want to do this, here I go. My husband want to do this, here I go. Like it wasn't a woman's place to say no, I don't want to do this, or we can't do this. It's just this is what my husband wants to do, and we see that with the Black people, we see that with the white people as well. That the women were just kind of like just going along with everything. So
Or struggling to have a voice. So like you said, they should have known, but it wasn't a they decision. Like it was a Henry decision, because when she found out, when she got there, saw that contract, saw where they were living, it was the women consistently who were the ones that said, men, Black men, are you reading this contract that you're putting your name on that says no one with Negro blood can live here? Did you not read this shit? And
then the interest rates were ridiculous. It was
yes.
20%. There's no way you can keep paying on a 20% mortgage. You can never pay it off.
And again, it's the women who are telling the men, like, are you not paying attention to this? And the men are like, nope, I got this. Like, like this is the best for us. And they're kind of forced to kind of go along with it. And to your issue, Chris, about how she was dealing with him after the war and everything, she in fact did try to be like, we need to work through this. I mean, he's throwing pie across the room because it reminds him of the gas chambers that the white man put him in. But she's working through that shit. Like she helped him, and even he said that he's like, "Girls, we need to help mom because mom helped me." But he didn't give her the same consideration.
I think he tried, but here's a problem though. I mean, yeah, war is horrible, and that's big. But I got to say, I don't know if I'm trying to say, if you fine, you witness your friends dying. Especially as a woman losing a child, that not only being sexually assaulted, like being raped, but raped and seeing her child, that is, I'm pretty sure she wanted death at that point for her, like her to die, in the sense that I saw this video of these group of women, like I guess who had like abortions or whatnot, and a couple of those women like actually regretted it. Like someone, I'm not taking the stand. I'm just saying, just like some women go through this or whatnot, and it was like the worst. Like, I mean, obviously, to them it was like the worst mistake they ever made. But you would have thought that they just like lit a fuse and like killed a whole bunch of people. The way they felt so like remorseful and so like depressed and whatnot. So I would say if I was in Henry's shoes, I would try to make an effort. I mean, I'm assuming he did too, but I wouldn't go that far. If it looks like she needed her space, I would definitely give her space, because I can't even imagine what, obviously, something like her. I mean, granted, yes, that's my kid too, but her witnessing it, like she's the one that carried it for 9 months. She's the one that was like caring for it while homie's at work all the time. And then here comes a group of people, and she's like pinned down, raped, defenseless, just watching her kid being murdered in front of her. Yeah, I would have probably backed off myself too. I would obviously come slowly, get it back. And I felt like that's what he kind of did when he kind of moved the family to Compton. He was like kind of making jokes with her, doing songs, you know what I mean? Like when they were all at the funeral or whatnot, you saw him trying to chat with her. She just was just staying out in the distance. And it was like, well, shit, I was like, damn, well, I guess I would have backed off too. Cause I'm like, yeah, at that point, like, you don't, and that point, I guess, that was like part of the thing that jumped him, like, I'm moving my family. We're going to start over and we'll be a great family. And, and yeah, it's just, I don't know.
So with move,
that was kind of tough. That was a tough episode, period. Just that whole episode was just kind of tough to watch, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
then he had to watch it again at the end when his evil demon like doppelganger had to made him watch again to deal with the fact of his guilt. But to Stacey's point, when they moved to California, I would have moved to Watts with my family. So at least, we're in a new place. We're surrounded by people that look like us. So we ain't dealing with that right now. But he made a conscious effort to be like, he was tired of being oppressed. He was tired of dealing with the white man. So he's like, I'm moving to this white neighborhood to prove that I can do it. But that was a he decision, not a we decision.
That's not why he got the house. Okay, I heard you were saying about the interest stuff. No, the reason why he moved to that white neighborhood, for one, if you looked at the interest, and this really happened too, like with them upping the interest rates and kind of to appease to black people to trying to mix neighborhoods and whatnot, they literally tricked black people into thinking that this is an area like you could this is very affordable, because they knew like black people that were moving from different areas, especially down the south. A lot of them didn't have a whole lot of money, so they would trick them. So what they would do was they would give them a house that was dirt cheap with a huge interest rate. They couldn't keep up with the payments. It would get foreclosed, but now that it's foreclosed, they can now up the house amount and then send it back and get another group of black people and keep raking in all those money that they're getting because people keep defaulting. It was messed up, and I feel like Henry was one of those black victims that dealt with that. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, because and to your point, yes, as well. He was trying to also make a point in the sense of like you saw Lucky's cousin, or I guess really Henry's cousin, saying, "Hey, y'all can stay with us and whatnot." And he's like, "Look, I signed that damn lease. You know what I mean? Yo, we're good. You know what I mean?" So two things was based on what I'm saying. Two things
All right.
going on.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like you weren't wrong. What you're saying, you weren't wrong, but I'm saying it wasn't just that.
It wasn't just
like,
that, but he
the house was very attractive as far as the cost.
Yes, but he specifically said, "I'm not gonna let the white man tell me where to live. I'm not living in Watts where they want us to live. I'm moving out here." But anyway, so he gets out there. Then so the rate. It's interesting that when he goes to work, right? The racism that he felt, that he faced, obviously not just with the receptionist, but with his engineer boss, who always plays an asshole. Like the actor who plays his boss always plays that douchey dude. But I want to bring up the gender inequality right here. That in this version of 1953, these white men will take a black man before they take a woman anything. Like there was no women in there whatsoever. So as much as black men, and he was constantly dealing with so much rage and oppression that he was squeezing his hand so hard that he was bleeding. He had to scream in paper. He was better off than a woman would be, a white one would be, because they wouldn't even be allowed in there. So there was still that thing that was going on, which I thought was interesting. As they were trying to.
Yeah. Did you ever see that infamous video? I mean, man, it's on YouTube. I don't know. Well, YouTube now tries to pull. They're always pulling videos that they kind of find controversial, but during the was it 2008 the 2008 Democratic election, when it was Obama and Hillary Clinton, they were interviewing. They went to some place down south. I forgot where it was in the south. It was a place that was hugely segregated, Confederate flags everywhere, and they found some folks it was like several racist folks that was like talking about like, well, it's like, well, I mean, I'm gonna go for that John McCain guy, or like it was I guess someone else who was nominated. He said, well, what about on the Democrat side? He said, you know what, I'm gonna have to go for Obama. And then the anchor, the news dude was like, the reporter was shocked. He's like, really? You would go for Obama, black man? Like, Obama, really? You know what I mean? He said, why is that? He said, well, because I'd rather vote for a nigger than I'll vote for that white woman. Like basically saying like,
yes,
because like women has to play, like black people had their place or whatnot. And the fact, and you watch, and he that's the words he used, like, I will vote for a nigger than I will vote for. And I'm like, damn. And you can see he was sincere, and that was 2008.
I mean, I feel that's why Hillary lost personally.
But
I think a lot of people said I would rather have President Trump than a woman. Like, I mean, I'd rather have a person with no presidential experience whatsoever than a woman. Like I was like, they're like, no, like it's just a lot of people, right? No matter what the race, I mean, gender just became a major issue.
Yeah.
Stacey, what do you think about the women issues that that Betty and Lucky were both kind of going through, even though they were fighting each other over race issues?
I almost felt at some point that they would almost kind of bond, like they would beef, and then they'd be like, oh, well, we're kind of in the same position.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be not friends, but maybe allies or something like that. But it never went that way. In the bonus clips, if you watch any of them, the girl that plays Betty talks about women, and particularly white women, how they just kind of grin and bear it and they just smile. Like even when she was mad at somebody or she was beefing, she always had this little smile on her face.
Yeah.
And that was in essence her power in a sense. And I was actually listening to a podcast the other day and we were talking about how femininity, like, is there power in the femininity of the being the damsel in distress, being the pretty little toy that people play with. It's like some women play that up to get what they want. And then some women feels like it's oppressive. Why am I only this cute little thing? Like, why do I have to play into this stereotype of what femininity is perceived just to be able to navigate the world? And so I think Lucky kind of, even though they were both kind of fighting their own fights, Lucky was more like, she didn't use her beauty because Black women were considered beautiful. You even saw it in the daughter when she was like, I don't want to be like my mother because they're not considered beautiful. So Lucky was out here fighting. She was punching people in the mouth. She had her guns, whatever. Whereas Betty, she smiled. She'll manipulate the meat. Oh, well, you should do this. And then she had the milkman. I really need you to do this. And, and she manipulated her situation that way. She went home to her daddy to beg for money, which was weird. And I don't really understand what exactly happened there, but I guess we'll get to it. But
and that's what I was about to bring up. So I was going to say they were both. I mean, the thing was, Betty and Lucky were so alike than they even realized that they were both women that dealt with trauma. Trauma and sexual assault to the point where they basically were trying to reclaim that in the sense of just being these powerful women. I mean, I thought it was kind of. I mean, so I thought it was pretty obvious. I mean, my thought was obvious in the sense of basically her father raped her. You know what I mean?
That's what I was trying to clear up.
Hey, yeah, when he was writing the check, he stops. He says, "What are you gonna do for me?" or whatever. And he's drawing her back and he's taking his clothes off, and she's like has this worried look on her face. And she said, "I can't have children." At first, it made it seem like I was under the impression like maybe she was barren, but no, it was like more trauma in the sense of like that's why it's just more of like either she just refused to have children, or maybe what her father did to her like really kind of messed her up. You know what I mean? So I felt like that was what both those women kind of had really in common in the sense of like if they happened to be the same. Let's be real, they had the same skin complexion, they would have been best friends, but because they're so alike. But
so the difference, I think.
Yeah, what would you think?
I think the difference between Betty and Lucky is that we saw Lucky's trauma. We saw and how she like outwardly dealt with it, right? Like people saw her one outside with the gun when someone inside killed her dog. People saw her chase down the boy with the stick out. He pissed all over the sheets, right? Everything Betty did, all her rage was internal. Like when she fucked up her house, like she didn't go outside and act a fool. Like she went inside and destroyed her house because she was dealing with stuff, right? But even with the father thing, the fact that we are sitting here guessing about whether or not her father raped her or not, I'm like,
I didn't think it was a guess. I thought that was pretty obvious myself, but I wasn't.
But like right now, like Stacey, like, well, what level was like what? How? Because again, she was gone for a while. We don't know. We don't know why she's not having kids. There's so many things about her story that were not shown, as opposed to we have to infer or we have to look around. Like I'm like, I want to see that. I want to see what made Betty who she was. You know what I'm saying? Like if it was her father was raping her, and again, was that her stepmother? I think that was her stepmother. Because she was like, we don't even know that, but she was definitely shitting on Betty. Like, you haven't been here in a while. Why are you even here? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times when daughters are being molested, the mother don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Is that the situation? And then on top of that, her husband was fucking stealing her money. You know what I'm saying? From Spartacus. I'm trying to find his what's his name?
Yeah, going to gay bars.
Clark.
Yeah, using that money to go to gay bars. It's
So again, what was this so for the record, the only white person that wasn't completely racist was Clark, the gay one. Like the only one, and I was like, okay. And I'm like,
the cop too. Well, the cop was kind of, I don't know.
He was racist as fuck. He was just being paid off. Like
yeah.
it went.
What about the real estate agent?
Real estate was also. I mean, she was about that much. No, she was shitting on black people too. I mean, but even her, she's another example of a woman, a white woman in a man's world that she was like that she was being pushed to do this shit because they told her at that table like you could be at home making babies and cooking, so shut the hell up and go out there and make those loans. And she was like, yes, man, you know, because but even with Clark's situation, like he stole her money. We don't know why, and we don't know what that had to do with anything because it
was for him going to all those little illicit like secret gay clubs.
No, that's what you want to imply. You don't know why that happened. You don't know what kind of bar. You don't need over $6,000 to go to a bar, Chris. Like
no, not to a bar. But I mean, it's like no. When you do,
you can buy a house for $10,000.
You got to understand back then, especially like you talking about those illicit secret societies like swinger clubs or whatnot. You had to pay to get in. You had to pay like it was like that. It was because that especially back then that's death. If they you know like one of those things where it's like you come out whatever and all that shit is like it was so that they wanted to paint like hey to see if you were the real thing you got to pay money in order to be part of this club like coming to this.
Then that should have been talked to. So we're not going back through this. That needs to be talked about. Like if we're gonna bring it up, that needs where did the money go? The fact that he ended up being gay had nothing to do with anything. Because I thought in the end, when he was like, well, I'm being oppressed too, because I just got caught. How the fuck did the cop knew because they were chasing down gay people. How did the neighbor know he was gay? And how did his wife not know he was gay? Like, this doesn't make sense. No,
she didn't. Not know?
No, she didn't know. She didn't.
She didn't know, or she just didn't care. Let me tell you what, because of what she went through, I think she was just okay just having the illusion of the white picket fence or whatnot, which is why also like again the no kids thing or whatever. Like it's just like if you notice they never even really had like they were never really intimate. And you saw the black black couple were always intimate, you know what I mean? And they never were. So I was just I was just on the impression that like either she slightly knew or she just didn't care, you know what I mean? Because she just wanted to create this facade of an amazing husband and wife family and whatnot, and don't you dare keep bringing up where's my kids or how come I don't have kids because that because that will trigger me.
To your point, if she did know, she wouldn't have been like to your point of somehow all the money went to the gay bars. She would have known that. Like she would have been like, oh my God, I've been robbed of my money. Like it was too many things. There's too many plot holes going on between them two for this stuff not to be addressed. I mean. To the point, if she knew, why is she having a secret, flirty, eye-fucking relationship with George the milkman? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, and then she ends up being kidnapped by him. I'm like, she as much as she led the white women in the community to be the driving force, she was helpless in so many other ways, particularly when it came to men, that she was symbolically trapped as a housewife, and then she was literally trapped, by George the milkman.
Yeah, that was
the whole point of her character was just to show how women, particularly white women, weren't free. Like they were at the mercy of men. If I needed something, I had to go to a man. In the HOA meeting, she was telling the men, look, I need y'all to go out there and do this. I can't do it. I'm just a soft little white woman. So she had her own little prison that she was living in, and she was using her femininity to navigate through it as best as she could, but it failed her in the end because dude just wanted her as a captive little slave.
That was a wild shit.
Yeah,
I thought she was gonna give up the draws. Like that's what I thought. I thought it'd be irony that.
I mean, you got her down there. I'm like, you didn't attempt to do that, or did they not show it, or?
No, I think he wanted her. I think in his sick mind, he wanted her to want him.
Yeah.
He didn't just want to force. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And that's why that was a test. That's why he left it at one point. Now, granted, there was a couple times I'm like, this dumb idiot. Why don't you just like, I was like, you're gonna stab him once and that's it. Like, come on, man. You never see Zombieland double tap. You know what I mean? Like, you know, or just like, or he falls asleep, hurry up, run up on that bitch and run out, whatever. But come on, don't you think it was a little suspicious, young lady, that he walks out and he purposely leaves it unlocked? You know what I mean? Like, don't you be like, never mind, I'll keep my ass down here. You know what I mean? Like, it. If anything, I thought that was another thing that kind of was very much of a parallel to Lucky, or Betty and Lucky, in the sense of everything looks appetizing, everything looks great on the surface, and then you know peel back the layers and you realize, oh no, how ugly it is. Like in the sense of for Lucky, it's like this great town, like getting away from North Carolina and going to this what I think is this nice wealthy area with my husband having this new job and my daughter's having a brand new life. Look great on the surface, and then all of a sudden you see those white people looking at them so evil. I'm like, oh, never mind. In the same sense with Betty, like that milkman. Oh man, he's such a dream. He's amazing. And then the rope comes out. You know what I mean? I thought it was very. They were both in like we were saying that they were both in the prison. You know, in a sense, they were both kind of they both felt trapped, and then in a sense, I thought it was done on purpose, and especially when they were playing some Nina Simone, when Betty escaped, you know, just like a runaway slave, and then all of a sudden, pop, shot, you know, like an animal that she called the black people. I was like, damn. I was like, at that point, I was like, bars.
That was a bars moment for you.
Yeah. Oh, that moment, I was like, bar. You know what I mean? Because he was at the course. I'm like, so where you going? Like, it was like one. It was like the typical, like, where you going, boy? Like, you know, that whole thing. That's what that was.
You spent the whole series worried that the black people were going to kill her, and ended up being the white man that you've been flirting with the whole time. So him getting stabbed in the neck was bullshit to me, because any other time you see that in a movie, they're dead right there. Like, that's a major artery. He's bleeding out. I thought when he got up I thought he was just going to fall. Or when she got up, he was going to be dead and laying next to the thing. The fact that he just walked away from that shit and was like, I'm going to hold, I got enough. I was like, that's bullshit. Like, there's no way he just walked. He pulled it out of his own neck and was like, I'm just going to walk upstairs.
Which one was more bullshit, that he was able to do that, or the fact that she didn't continue what she started? I thought it was more bullshit.
Both of them. No, you're right. Both of them was bullshit.
She was like, why'd you stop? Why'd you stop?
Like, I'm like, you go for the eyes, you go for the balls. Like, you don't just sit there and be like, I'm gonna see this dude's gonna die or not.
Let's see. Maybe we'll talk. Maybe the blood will come out, and I'll just wait like 10 minutes.
Maybe I'll re-engage it if he comes at me again. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I was like, what is happening? Like what? How is he still alive? Or why are you not just on top of him stabbing him? You got a fork. You got a fork. Like, he gave you a weapon, but you got to be like, look over there, George. Whoop, whoop. I'm like, he gave you weapons. Like, just stab this dude. Anyway, I was like, this is a bit much.
About that life. She's never had to get her hands dirty.
Yeah. So, and again, it would have been good if you would saw, like, back in her, you know, her troubled time, like if she was being molested by her dad, maybe she stabbed him, like maybe it triggers her and she goes back to that or something, to be like something like, how did she get out of that? Anyway, to your point of I thought Henry would saw. I don't think Lucky ever saw that community as a safe place. Like, she was already traumatized. When she saw those white people, she was even more traumatized and mad that her husband didn't tell her about it. I think Henry was like, maybe this would be a fresh start, until the dolls and the burnt grass started, and he was like, well, never mind.
And they killed the dog.
And they killed the. I was like, damn, they killed the dog too.
Yeah, you know that was so. You know where they took that from? That whole thing with the dog, both the dog being poisoned and the with dog. Well, yeah, with the whole thing with the dog and the whole burning of the lawn. Nat King Cole. I saw the thing about it. They said that actually happened to Nat King Cole when he became wealthy and he started moving in certain white neighborhood. They burnt stuff in lawns and whatnot. Basically, all the stuff, most of the stuff that you saw that was traumatizing, from the hanging of the black dolls, that actually happened to real life people. Apparently, yeah, you know, it was like, so, you know, matter of fact, even the name Emery, there was, I guess, a lot of it kind of was based off of, what's that dude's name? Emery Huston something, whatever, a real life dude who was also in World War II. He was from World War II, and he moved his family somewhere else in California, and they were traumatized in the sense of they had a cross up in their yard, and then they had like spray paint that says "Black Cancer, keep away." You know what I mean? And then he sued them and won. He sued the neighborhood, actually won. and he became like one of like a big civil rights activist and wrote some stuff for the NAACP stuff. He became this big deal. I got it. I'll get his name, I guess, later on. But or you can just look it up, because I mean, obviously, this show is not really based on a true story, but some of the events happen to actually real life people. So you kind of look it up. That's a lot of stuff actually really happens. Not the demon portion. You know what I mean? But
everything else though.
Yeah.
So with the family, I want to talk about the pie, because that was one of the best scenes I've ever saw, like of just pure acting, right? So once you get, so Stacey and I were talking about this. So once you realize that you go to the flashback of them back in North Carolina, so Henry's sleeping on the ground. He just gets back from the war. He's eating pie one night, and it triggers him thinking of the sweet smell of the pie, takes him back to the gas chambers that the white people put him in. And so he throws the pie against the wall, and so that was Ruby as a little girl, like she freaks out. And then Lucky's like trying to calm him down, trying to calm Ruby down. Fast forward to the present, so Lucky is trying to say, hey, I'm seeing things, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, shut the fuck up, like I don't want to hear this right now, you know what I'm saying? So she's like, what? So then, why is she still even making pie? Let's just start there. Like, why would you make another pie again when your husband flipped out and almost like destroyed the house over pie the first time? But in this situation, the girls and her are eating pie. She takes a big slice of pie, puts it in front of him, not knowing that he spent the whole day being shit on and had no way to deal with all that. And now he's coming home almost putting that into his family, which is common. And then he's eating the pie, like he's crying as he's eating the pie. And then you start seeing the fork starts to represent a shovel. And I'm like, what the fuck? So he's going back to the gas chamber. He's going back to having to bury maybe his friends who died in the gas chamber. And then she's smiling at first until she starts to see him cry. And then she starts to cry. And I was like, oh, this is real shit. Like they're fighting over this pie.
That was deep, yeah.
I was like, oh,
I really like that scene. It was like, because it was clear that she was trying to get payback on him, saying like, hey, look, like you basically thinking I'm crazy, when I supported your ass, you know what I mean, and whatnot. It's that, and now you making our daughters look like something's wrong with mommy and whatnot. Well, let's see how good you are when I put a pie in front of you. You know what I mean? And then when I saw she was like, oh, that's so petty. Why she do that? That's so petty. She is so freaking petty. And then you saw him was like, he was trying to win. He was like, nope, I'm better than this. He was struggling with that pie. Man, can you imagine being the older daughter and being like, Dad, why you crying over some pie? And then I'm like, yo, it's pie, Dad. What's up?
Like, no, Grace should be like, I don't get it. Ruby should remember the time when her daddy threw that pie against that damn wall. Be like, hey, Mom, I told you about that pie shit. Like, we don't do pie in this family no more. Because I'm triggered. Like when she go to school, she got the pie. She should have been like, no pie. I'm
surprised she even did she just make it just in case like her husband was going to be on that bullshit again?
But that's why I'm like, why would you ever make pie again? Like, just don't do it. Like, it's not. I mean, this can't be the only time he flipped. It can't just be you put it on his plate and he flips the fuck out. If he sees the pie or smells the pie when he comes to the house, he should be ready to hurt somebody. Like, he just be like pie. Like it's. No pie in the house. Just no pie. This is the no pie house. Like, anyway, I'm going too far on that. Let's talk about Ruby. All right. So that's some wild shit. Like, so let's get this straight.
Was she from Us? She was in Us as well, right?
Was that her? Was that her?
Yeah.
I think that was her from Us. Yeah.
Because Gracie looked just like her. When the scene that is behind Stacey, everything about Gracie said Us to me. I was like, that's her. Like, just the way it was just so well mimicked, like her the emotions and all the creepy things that Gracie was going through. I was like, this is Us all day, every day. Like Jordan Peele had to be involved in it or should be suing for copyright. One of those. He needs to be like, I did this shit first, you motherfuckers. Like, don't be taking my ideas. But with Ruby, it's interesting how she had absolutely no friends at this school, like no one except the one she made for herself, like the demon who that just befriended her. And how did the custodian, when he found her by herself in that room, why didn't she say, oh, me and my friend were in here, and he go, who? Like, it's just you in here. But it was just her to the point that she's like, I want to be white so bad that the demon had to put paint on her. I mean, that was the wildest. It reminded me of Ruby from Lovecraft Country, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All complete with the white girlfriend and all.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh shit, like we got another black Ruby who don't want to be black, who ends up kissing a white woman. I was like, I think I've seen this before. I was like, damn.
I would say the difference is though
One
is
skinny.
that no, that's not where I was running.
Oh, my bad.
Sorry. I was going to go with the physical appearance there, Dave. Jeez. No,
Well,
I was going to say
woman, so,
say no. That's not what I was going to say. No. I guess what I'm trying to get at is in the sense that this girl already kind of has in her mind that I need to be a white woman or a white girl and whatnot. And in the sense of like Ruby experienced it first. It was like, yeah, she's like frustrated, like, damn, I didn't get the job or whatnot. And then all of a sudden, let's just say you wake up rich out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Maybe you never really cared about being rich, but all of a sudden you woke up rich. I mean, well, not rich, I should say, but like a certain person like Brad Pitt. Let's just say you never really cared about being Brad Pitt. Like, why would you? Whatever, right? But then you wake up with Brad Pitt and you got like 2 girls to your side. You come out, you got like 6, 8-pack abs or whatnot. You might be like, what? I can get used to this. So that's what I'm trying to say about Ruby. You know what? Pay for shit. Yeah, I can get used to this. There was nothing with the other Ruby.
Okay. I know where you're going with this shit.
That said, this is a good idea.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying? At least
with the reason in Lovecraft.
The homegirl from Lovecraft Country. There was some positive. There was some actual positive.
Yeah.
She got shit done.
To your point, Chris, there was no context. There was no context why this girl just woke up one morning and said, "You know what would make my life better if I was white." Like, she had one moment. I mean, it was a bad moment, don't get me wrong, but she had one moment of them calling her an ape, and then all of a sudden she wants to be white. Like,
yeah, I wanted a little bit more too.
Don't think it was an all of a sudden thing. Maybe that was the trigger. Maybe because now she's in a lily white environment, it's more intense.
all right.
But just from knowing, like, even now, like how dark-skinned women perceive how society looks at them, their standard of beauty. Like, I've had dark-skinned women who like, oh, well, friends who were like, oh, I want to have a kid, but I don't want to have a dark-skinned child because of the way I was treated. And this isn't the 50s, this is now.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I don't think that it was all of a sudden she just wanted to be white. I think her being thrown into that environment kind of accelerated her desire for it.
All right.
But I think little dark-skinned girls kind of feel a pressure that other groups don't necessarily feel as far as being beautiful. So, and then the fact that her mom was kind of losing it, I think also made it a little bit more imperative. Like, I don't want to be like her. This beautiful dark-skinned mother, but I don't want to be like her. I want to be beautiful like y'all. So I think that's what it was.
Yeah. And but Gracie didn't have a beautiful little Gracie. Like she
adorable. Chester was adorable. They all are just it was a good-looking family to me, but
I think to casting, as much as they wanted to drive home the racial message of this series, they made a point of finding a brown to dark skin family, like across the board. So there was no hesitation or even doubt that they were black compared to all the lily white people that they casted, especially with Betty, to show you the contrast. Because often in these shows, as Stacey and I have talked about this too, like usually there's like a brown to dark skin husband and some type of a lighter skinned wife, like most of the time. But this time they're like,
or the little light skinned kids.
With
light they'll give you random light skinned kids for no reason. Okay.
But now they're like, no. All dark skin. Like, you got to fail the brown bag test. All of you. Like,
you know what it was? I think they knew you were going to watch this, and they were just like, you know what? There's an Iron Panther out there who at any minute's notice be like, I don't understand. 2 dark skinned parents make a light skinned baby? Impossible.
It happens. I'm just gonna say it does happen, but whatever.
I was gonna say, I keep telling him that, and I keep showing him examples. And he's just like, no. And I'm like, bro, it happens in real life all the time, more often than you think.
That's another video. I'm just saying, but you saw the conscious effort in this casting, right? We all agree on this. They were like, no.
They did a great job because you don't really see dark-skinned families on TV. So I thought, okay, you got this good-looking dark-skinned black man, this beautiful black dark-skinned mother, and the kids were adorable. Chester, I just little Chester. Oh my God!
Well, hold on, I got something to say now. Why is it that the family, that her family, all the family that was living good, why were they all lighter skinned? The ones who didn't have to get traumatized, like the Hazel or whatnot, they were all lighter.
The one that killed her family?
No, Hazel. I'm talking about
Hazel. You're talking about one living in Watts. You're talking about one living in Watts.
The one in Watts.
The girl from Enliving.
That's because they moved. They were smart enough to move to a neighborhood of people that look like them. That's what that was. Because they didn't have a Henry who was like, "Fuck that! I'm gonna be a civil rights leader with my family that I didn't tell them about, and then we're just gonna deal with this racism stuff." Now Henry did that to his family. I don't blame anybody else but him.
But Stacey, to your I told you why. But Stacey, to your point about the whole skin complex, they even addressed it in the sense of the woman who bleached her husband and her son. She said, my mom was like, remember when she talked to her at the the mental institution, saying like, he said, mom always says light's right, like, kind of make it seem like at the end of the day, all they kind of see is just your black skin. What I mean? Yeah. So, I do kind of appreciate that they kind of went kind of far into just kind of understanding, like, in certain communities, lighter skinned black people have it better, but there's also areas where it's like, you still a nigger. You know what I mean? So it's like,
we'll talk about that too. Before I want to get into racist ghosts that I've never even heard before. So with the whole fact that the house or the neighborhood was haunted by the man in the black hat, or Epps, I guess if you watch it, on with subtitles, like the fact that they kind of went back to say the story was, he was the member of a Dutch religious community in California. He killed his, as I took it, he didn't know he was worshiping some type of unnamed, unseen demon who tricked him into killing his own kids. Okay, way before the black people showed up. He said he killed his own kids for the greater good of the community. That's what he said. And he was like, I did this, but why did I have to do this? And then the Lord blessed him with a new son, which turned out to be the demon. But he killed his two kids before that.
Well, no, okay. Then there was a line that he said over their funeral. Both his son. Well, no, actually, the other one wasn't his son. Two kids. It was one of them was his son, the other one was his wife. He was standing over his wife and son's grave. But he said the line. He also said the line saying, "Father, like, why did you do why did this happen? Why did you do this? Give me a sign and all this other stuff.
So magically, the son appears. Well, the boy.
No, that's not that wasn't even supposed to. That even apparently didn't even look like that wasn't supposed to be his son at all. He found a random boy.
It turned out to be the demon, Chris. Like, it wasn't random.
I understand that. I'm just saying, no. What it was okay. Trust me, dude. I watched a lot of horror movies to understand.
All right.
What happened here was basically he questioned God when he was he does what a lot of people who are really upset and distressed. One of the first things that happens, especially even like you blame God.
Yeah.
But at that point, he denounced God. He basically saying like, somebody hear me. Like he was basically saying like, because at that point he basically kind of gave up unconsciously. He kind of was like, he kind of forced he went against God at that point. Unconsciously. And then all of a sudden he did that, and the devil's like, oh, okay. And then the devil came in right when he said that. That's what that was.
Okay, all right.
So that boy only appeared once. He knew consciously that Ep actually kind of gave up on God.
I agree with you. Do we agree that the child was said demon of some sort?
No, I don't think it was said demon. He was the devil.
I see. And again, I disagree.
He said I go by many names.
When did the devil become racist? Like that? Like no, it was. I don't.
No, the devil wasn't. No, the devil was all about torture. You know what I mean? and any way he can torture your souls, it will be easier. He found a mark, and the mark was racist. So therefore, just like he found, hold on, just like if you would have found a man who brutalized women or whatnot, he would have been, and he knew how to make him suffer, and that man also gave up on God, but he had an influence. He would then also say, "Hey, I would also give you everlasting life if you also torture these women or so and so." He's all about torture, and he'll find a vehicle, the easiest vehicle to do it. You think he's the only passenger, the only Trojan horse that he used? And you think it's just literally
in this situation? There was no black people to even.
He wasn't.
There was no black people even in sight before that. The demon showed up before the black people even showed up. Okay, so he was already influencing him before those black people showed up. When the black people showed up and they're relatively going well, at some point, demon said, "Hey, you can use scripture." You know what I'm saying, to enslave these people. Fast forward to the point the dude was like, "You got to kill these people." You know what I'm saying, to become more like me.
That was already in his heart, though. Like the devil just amplified it. That's all he did.
I disagree.
He didn't do anything. If anything, if you notice when he dropped the Bible, you notice when the kid picked it up, all it did was the Bible just opened up to a passage that just happened to be to amplify what he was saying. He found the scripture and it was just convenient for him. Just like they say on Google, like hey, you can find anything on Google that agrees with you. No. That devil wasn't that the devil really isn't anything. You know what I mean?
That's why this is not. That's why I'm saying
he was just racist, and he used his power of suffering. You know what I mean? And just amplified it and said, "Okay, let's make a deal."
He made a racist deal with him. Can we agree on that? Can we agree that the deal?
I would just say
if you suffer black
the devil
people,
makes a deal. The devil doesn't have an adjective deal. It's just a deal.
He said that. Chris.
He did specifically say black people.
So yes.
So
for black, of course. But my point is, Ep already had that in his head already. Ep already had that, and the devil amplified the hell out of it. He said, because the devil. So what you're trying to say is the devil was basically, you never heard of a demon racist, and I'm trying to say the demon doesn't give a damn as long as you are actually making people suffer. And if it's women that you make suffering, he will amplify that. If it's other white men, if it's black people, if a black person comes in and you see that you're evil and you want to kill white men, he will amplify that as well. That's all that was with Epps. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, this was what confused me. So we had the episode Covenant 1 where the baby gets killed. Covenant 2 explains Hiram Epps' origination story, right? And then in the last episode, when Lucky goes back and he has Chester, and he's like, "Look, I can give you your baby back, and you just have to come join me or whatever." Anyway, he said something to her about you had a covenant and you didn't keep your covenant, and that's why you're suffering, and you will be doomed to suffer or whatever. And it kind of goes back to how I think the Hebrew Israelites and other groups believe that Black people were chosen and we broke our covenant with God, and that's how we ended up in slavery, and that's why we're doomed to suffer, and that's why everybody hates us, right? So we were marked with dark skin and nappy hair, and that's why we suffer. So I don't know if the person who wrote this kind of worked, because when I saw this, the title is them, right? And I was like, okay, is them Black people or is them white people? And then in the last episode, he kept saying they or them. And so I was like, okay, them is Black people. But when he was talking about, like, you're hated, you're going to suffer, so you might as well just join me, at least you have your baby, and you come here and then you make your people suffer. Like, I was doing that. So as far as like racist demons and stuff like that, to me, it was kind of like the way God allegedly cursed Black people. Not that God is a demon. We're not going to get into that, but
oh damn! You're gonna how many? Oh damn! Now we're about to get.
Hold up! Just let her finish.
I'm just saying, in that context, when he was saying that you are cursed as this group of people, and then going back to saying that how they were saying, I didn't know there were racist entities that curse people based off of their race. Whoever wrote this, I don't know if they were projecting some shit, into the story, or maybe I'm projecting some shit into what they were trying to tell us, but that's what I was getting from that whole thing and talking about covenants and breaking covenants. Because otherwise, what was the covenant that she broke?
See, I thought he was saying as a parent, because he kind of said like you failed to like, he was tricking her to be like, you failed to protect your child, like, and therefore with that, that's how I can get you to suffer. Because the whole thing was like Epps deal, the entity's deal with Epps was that you will make black people suffer. I guess I think somehow black women in particular. But if you can't do that, then then you fail. So he had, like, with the baby, he could get her there so he could make her suffer. You know what I'm saying? But she would give her she, for some reason, something about her was strong enough to fight the normal mind washing that he did, right? So she had to willingly give herself to him. And
right. But then that goes back to the Bible, how Satan came to Jesus like, well, you got to be crucified. I'll give you all this land and I give you the power. And you don't have to go through that. Just come over here with me. So it goes back to the Bible and biblical stories, how they have the forbidden fruit. Hey, you want this? I can give you all this stuff. You just come over here with me, kind of thing. And then also with them targeting the women, because like the asylum was all black women, right? When they conquer a people, they were hanging and killing the black men, but they'll take the black women and they'll brainwash them. And that's how you keep the black people going, but you get them to submit to you. Because if you get the black woman to say, hey, I don't want no dark skinned babies, so maybe she'll want to procreate with a white person to kind of, dilute the species in a sense. Or you teach your children to be submissive, you teach your children to be obedient, you teach your children, whatever, So they manipulate the women, but then they kill off the men.
All right. So that could be an angle too. We don't know what they were going with that. Like, to me, what I saw though, the reason I was saying that I thought somehow this was some kind of racist demon, because Epps, when the black people first showed up, he was the one that was like, hey, don't worry, come on into camp, I'll fix your wagon. He's the one that defended them, when the other people were like, they're the devils that made the water. Maybe the ones that took the water into black magic. He initially were like, no, like, it's like, we are equal. I'm here to help them. If he was always racist, then he wouldn't have let him in the camp in the first damn place. But like I'm saying, but slowly but surely, the demon like got to him. As I saw it, the demon got to him, and then at some point,
kind of what I got to.
I'm like, and then but then once the covenant started, once the child was like, here's the scripture, like, hey, like, how do you fix this? It was the kid that handed him the Bible to be like, read this, and he was like, yeah. And then he was like, that makes sense.
And then the kid is the one that let them out of the stables. So and I was like, well, is the kid the benevolent one? But then no, he let them out so they can get caught, so they can get
exactly. Yeah. But I guess, but to your point, but no, what I'm trying to get at is that all of it stemmed from Epps. The kid just only just like, let's just say you like your boy is in the NBA or whatnot. What do you and he's like about to make a winning shot. What do? You hype him up. You be like, yeah, you can do it. That's all the kid did was hype him up. Because to your point, he let the black family in, right? Guess what? The devil didn't do anything to stop that. He just let that happen, right? The only time the devil only helped him only after Epps got jealous. Epps got jealous because he told him, well, God told me that the water is in this well. Or no, the water is in like a different well or something like that.
Okay. All right.
And then the black people, the black guy said, nope, I'm pretty sure it's in here. You notice he got upset. And they were like, wow. So they gave him a little thing, So he started saying, okay, well, you notice he started losing his vision because that was his sight to God. Like, he started to become blind. He was becoming blind to this shit. You know what I mean? Right. That was his doing. The devil didn't do anything for that. The devil just kind of amplified it. Be like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Because you notice the kid only stepped in only when Epps already started getting pissed. That's when the kid came.
I'm saying his lifelong covenant was to hurt black people.
No, it wasn't like the kid came in and then he started getting pissed. If you notice,
I understand that. Can we? He amplified was already in him. I would agree with that. I'm saying, do we agree? It's kind of odd that the devil would make a specific pact with this dude to be like, you have to make black people suffer.
I didn't think it was odd
in general, but black people in particular. Like,
I watch a lot of horror movies. This is nothing different from any other demon pack in the sense of like if you're a type of person that loves to kill little babies and whatnot, the devil with them just kind of be like, no, it's just that's the typical thing.
It's my first time. It's my first time. It's my first time seeing a racist devil. This is my saying. That's my. I guess
my point is, if that was the case, then the devil wouldn't killed all those white people in that fire back then. If he was only the racist, the devil doesn't give a damn. He wants souls. But if you're the type of person that can give him even more souls, by all means, whether it be women or whatever, black people, I'm gonna help you with that then. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's all that was. Because again, if he wasn't racist, why did all those country people back then all of a sudden all burst into flames and whatnot? That the devil did that. You know what I mean?
I would see your point. The devil doesn't need a preacher though. Like this demon, whatever it was, it needed him to perpetuate this effort. The devil's pretty much independent. You know what I'm saying? Like he don't need a human to
but what? Yeah, no, he does. The devil always does. No, the devil can't do it. No, the devil needs, just like in the garden, the devil needed Eve to do it. The devil couldn't do it himself. The devil never can do it by himself.
Well, I'm saying
that's why he could never get Jesus. That's why he always got pissed off at Jesus, because Jesus had to be the one that decided to do it. Devil can
you have to give your permission. Same like in vampires or whatever, you have to invite them into your home.
Exactly.
Same thing with the devil. Same concept.
All right. So we got the demon thing. The relation to the other movies. I thought Henry in at least two cases reminded me of Denzel Washington, like with the glasses and everything. Like when he was sitting,
the Malcolm X scene. Yeah,
he was like, I was like Malcolm X. And then when he was standing over one of the white people he beat up, like he looked like Denzel standing over. He was talking shit to somebody. He just guys that wait, the white dude at the end when he was beating the shit out of him. I was like, I saw Denzel like from that angle. I was like, I feel it. But definitely with the glasses, we all agree with the glasses. Like I was like, get it.
Yeah.
And he's a British too guy.
I'm surprised they didn't do the shotgun scene by the window.
Yes.
Hold on, what'd you just say?
What?
David, what did you just say?
Well, as a British actor, like it's You didn't know that, bro? You got bamboozled. You got led astray. Come here, man. Let me show you how let me show you how black oppression is well done by British actors.
Yeah.
This show is canceled. This show is now canceled.
Come on, Chris. Come on, man.
I just knew I know homegirl or whatever, and she got that. You hear her? She's American. I didn't look him up. I just didn't bother because I just know.
Bro, they're both British. They're both British.
Well, she's British too. I didn't hear no accent in the interview. She's British.
I heard things.
I'm not denying. I'm just saying her. I didn't detect the accent. That's why I asked.
I thought she was British. That's why I took it.
She did an interview with Good Morning America. She just sounded
born in London.
Yep.
Lucky was born in London.
Yep. So she came here when she was 8. So maybe she can kind of turn it on and off. But
look at you, bro. Got bamboozled. Come here, man. Let's talk about the death of Black American actors.
Oh, she was in Girl Trip.
First 12 years a slave, then Queen and Slim. Now hell no. I am so fucking done.
Yes, the invasion is here.
I am so done. Why
are you black people always trying to divide other black people against?
I know, right?
I am so done. No, I don't. I don't want to.
That's what blows your mind.
I don't want to review this anymore. I'm done.
He's like, oh shit.
I don't know.
Oh man, this is hilarious. Anyway, with Clark. Anyway, so to kind of make Clark relevant, two things I would like to have happened. Either you find out he was actually dating a black man, which would have been hilarious, and therefore he helps the black folks and they get out together. For him just to drive away. Like, I'm like, what the fuck point was you? Like, what was the point of any of this shit? Like, I was so disappointed in all that shit. I was like, come on, make this relevant.
They some LGBTQ LMNOP representation.
Exactly. They're like, we gotta cross. Hey guys,
somebody gotta be gay.
Somebody be gay. And I'm like, what for? What? Like, it's like just. Again, so then Ruby kissing her white counterpart, like, are we saying that she's also gay? Like, I mean, that's fine, but are we gonna get into this? Is this is us or something? Like, are we gonna roll this thing through? Like, is this like nothing? Like
they go towards the trans route too?
No, they do trans.
Well, the Miss
Yeah, Miss Val or
that's
whatever.
the dude, right?
Yeah, I was like,
Miss Vera.
yes. I
Yeah.
was feeling that vibe. I couldn't. I couldn't
that's
put
a
my finger
dude.
on it.
Dude looks like a
Oh,
lady.
you can't see that. That's not okay. That's not okay.
Dude looks like a lady. So
You
song.
can't say that. You can't do like no. You can't say that.
Did they cancel that
like,
song?
That's like reference the Aerosmith song was probably not PC. Like you gotta say transgender. You can't like back to you say. Like, I'm pretty sure that's probably not okay. I'm pretty sure you can't say that now. You can't say that now.
I can't say man either. Okay.
You can't say that either. Actually, but I'm saying you can't say dude looks like a lady. That's definitely not okay. I'm pretty sure that's why Aerosmith don't sing that song anymore. And I'm not trying to get.
Well, if it's a dude that's really is a dude and he just looks like a lady, he probably would agree.
But again, let's not do that.
I mean, you're just assuming that dude that looks like a lady just happens to be transsexual. I'm just saying that dude probably was
Can
like.
we mute this Mike David?
I'm saying no, right? It's like Chris, you're my friend, Chris. I don't want to do this. Don't make me do it.
We ain't doing anything. Doing nothing. No, dude.
What?
If my skin is tight or whatever, I would look like a lady. I'm feeling the women.
Oh, okay, Chris. We get your point. Can we move on to another point? Like, do look like a lady. I got it. But so
triggered.
Yeah,
Man.
I'm sorry. So I want to get into the N word or the use of such.
Oh, triggered now. Triggered time.
Can I do it? Can we get into it?
No. I can't do dude looks like a lady.
Okay. All right. You're right. I'm sorry, man.
No, go ahead. Do it.
Okay, all right.
Let's do it.
My major two things. Betty's fear that black folks, quote, niggers, were going to move into Compton and turn into a bad neighborhood, and that's why white people left. Kind of hit me with two issues, right? I was like, let's talk about Compton. Let's talk about what happened to Compton in general. So, few years later, black folks, in fact, did finish moving to Compton. And then all of a sudden, black men from Compton, as you pointed out, Chris, like Dr. Dre included, came out with a group called what? Niggas with Attitudes from Compton. So in some way, Betty was right. I mean, niggas came from Compton at some point. Which kind of hit me with the issue of like, it kind of reinforced it. It kind of made me mad when I heard these white people using the N-word for what it was designed for, to oppress us. It just furthermore irritated me how often we still use the word as a positive. Like how, and it just irritated the fuck out of me. Like how you could, again, watch something like this and still think it's okay for black people to call ourselves and each other like the N-word. Like that, it still upsets me. Like it's self-oppression to me. Like if you don't realize what the word is, you're trivializing it, and the shit that goes with it. I'm sorry, Stacey. What's going on, Stacey?
It's the A versus the ER argument.
Not just either way, it's ignorance. But I see your point. I see your point.
That's what they say. I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, what? But if a white person used that argument, they still get socked in the face for using the word.
Yep.
So it's like, if you want to use the word. Don't justify it. Don't try to take it back to Egypt and say, oh, well, they were called niggas, so we're niggas, and this is. I've heard every argument for the word. I've never used it in a positive context. I've called people N-words, but it wasn't a term of endearment.
You used it as intended.
I used it as it should probably be used. If somebody is acting an N-word, they will be called a N-word. I don't care what race they are.
There you go. What's Chris? So until Chris gets himself together real quick. But my thing is all I'm saying. And I'm sure a lot of us, as I was triggered every time Betty and then were like, you black nigger. Like they wanted.
But it was almost as triggering for me when the tap dance man,
right?
He was just nigga,
right?
Like, and then even with Henry, sit down, nigga. Like, I was just like, oh wow,
what?
Okay. It was wild. So
it was. My thing, but as much as y'all, and I know some of you were like, oh my God, why? This is why we hate white people. Look at how they talk about us. Think about how we talk about it ourselves. Like, if you still use the N-word like it's a positive, To me, that is self-oppression. That we've been called it so long that we don't fight it anymore. That somebody, but we say when we call ourselves a nigga, it's okay because we say and we're empowering the word.
But it's the same thing with the gay community amongst women. We call each other bees sometimes. The gays call each other different words. And they say, well, if you're a part of that community, it's okay.
How many people have been fired for calling somebody a bitch? Fired. On TV news article about it.
I'm sure it's coming.
A white person saying the word nigga in the right way will get them fired. Period. It ain't too much they're gonna say about that.
I mean, you ain't even got to say the N word. You can just refer to them as a piece of chocolate or burnt toast or something like that, and
fired.
You're out of here.
I'm just saying. To me, I'm saying if you use the word now in some type of positive way, you call yourself that, you call your friends that, you call your families that, you cannot get upset when white people who created the word call you that. Like, it just seems stupid to me. It just seems stupid to me that you're gonna get mad that white people will call you what you're calling yourself, or what you call your, like, if you don't respect yourself enough not to use the word, why are you mad that other people are? Why you want other people to treat you better than you're treating yourself? To me, it just further irritates the fuck out of me that we continue to do it and think it's okay. People built careers on this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm like, irritates me. And again, she was like, oh, these niggers from Compton. I'm like, I swore they're gonna write a line. Right? I thought they're gonna be like, these niggas from Compton's got attitudes. I was like, I would laugh my ass off. I would have been like, yes. I'm sorry, Chris. Anyway, what's up, man? I know.
Why you say sorry?
I saw your face. What's going on?
Huh?
What are your thoughts?
About what? What do you mean?
I mean, do you think it's still okay? I mean, do you feel like
that's for a separate video? Separate video.
All right, I got you. Yeah, but that's one of my. So when I looked at this, I asked myself, what should Black people take away from this now? What are the lessons that we should try to take away from this now? And like you said, bitch, right? Like I feel kind of sound. It's not at the same level. It's not at the same level as the N word, but I still think it's ignorant for women to be like, if you get upset that someone refers to you as a bitch because you think they're insulting you, but then you call yourself a bitch in a positive, that's ignorant. Like, to me, like, you wanted to make it.
There's a lot of bad bitches online, so it's in their description.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Trina was the baddest bitch. I mean, we black women in particular. There's so many Black women now that have made careers on being like, I'm the baddest bitch. This, as we talked about, we got Eve and Brandy going to be on the show. They're going to be nasty bitches. But somehow we're still like, Black people are still like, you need to respect us. You need to show our image in a more positive way. We don't do it to ourselves. We don't do it for ourselves. Why are you asking these other people to do it for us when you can't even do it for yourself? That's all I'm asking. Like, I'm tired. Like you said, Chris, we're tired of why do Black people continue to make shit where white people are better than us? This is another example of Black people making.
No, I'm talking about movies. I'm just talking about just having movies about this.
I'm talking about movies, TV shows. I'm talking like most.
No. I just don't want to. I don't want to have the parallel of what you were saying. What I'm trying to say is, when I brought it up, I'm only talking about, I'm just tired of seeing Black people going through struggles. That's all I was saying. Now continue.
I will say, from my own, to independent but similar, I'm tired of Black struggle movies too, but I'm tired about the fact that a lot of these are made by Black people who continue to put white people on a pedestal, who continue to say that no matter what, no matter the year or the location, white people don't have problems, only Black people do. White people aren't poor, like Black people are poor. Black people are struggling, and it's only through adversity that we finally come up and get our shit together at some point. Also, I think the reason why the movie ended with them just standing defiantly in front of all those white people and the guns and shit is because in real life, most of them are going to jail. Like Gracie is about to be a. In
2020, they would have been dead. As soon as he walked out that door, it would have been pew pew pew.
But so Henry, he's going to jail for killing a cop. One, and assaulting the white dude. I'm sure somebody saw that when he went to his boss's neighborhood. So he's going to jail. And
he shot his neighbor.
And
And there's a dead body in the basement with an axe wound in his back.
That's why Ruby's going to jail, because she's the one that did
He
that.
don't take the rap for that. He'll take the rap.
Ruby ain't gonna take the rap for that. It's gonna be the father.
And Lucky just got done killing a white woman, so jail. Remember she bashed the psychiatrist's head in, so she wanted to lobotomize any more black women. So at least both.
But she escaped from an institution, so they just gonna lock her ass back up.
Once they find the body, though, jail.
Yeah, that could be anyone though. It's not like they got.
Then women were accountable for their own actions. So
Yo, shout out to
they'll
that.
probably get institutionalized. You know.
Shout out to that security, that brother, that security guard that just looked at it, and I knew exactly what was gonna happen. He's gonna be he's like, whatever. He's like, you know what? They don't pay me enough for this. Go right ahead. Go right ahead, sis. I've been wanting
no problem working there, knowing all these black women are being lobotomized on a regular basis. He just like, just in case one of them happens to escape, I might help them, or just by not doing anything. That's my help. Like, I'm just not going to do anything. I was like, well, you on you, girl. So then,
if you made it this far, I'm not gonna stop you.
Yeah. And the door just opens. Ain't no kind of combination or nothing. Oh, okay.
What y'all think about Mr. Tap Dance Man? What did y'all think about the? I got mixed feelings about him.
I feel I think the purpose was Henry himself saw himself as the Uncle Tom for dealing with all the shit that he was going through and not killing his boss immediately. I think the man in black with the black hat was helping, was using that to be like, this is your doppelganger. Like, this is just like Ruby saw a white girl because that's what she wanted to be to an extent. That was him telling himself that he saw himself as an Uncle Tom, and that's why they picked that character to the extent. That's how I took him anyway.
I did that first too. At first I thought that too, but then all of a sudden, homie's talking about like, what you gonna do? Like trying to get him to start killing white folks. I'm thinking, if you want him to just be like, oh yes, sir, I know that about that now, man. I'm thinking like, why, like, would a minstrel kind of say, hey, kill that man? But then I was thinking maybe it was to show that he was an animal, like a beast, like a black man is seen as like just an ape, a monster, and all they can think of is just rage. So I was kind of thinking, I was like, is that what it was? Because you're right. Because at first I thought it was the whole Uncle Tom thing in the sense of like him kind of being like this nice black dude working at that job, and he's clenching his fists and he just lets it go and it's like, okay, yes, sorry, sir. But then all of a sudden that, homie was talking about like, you can just kill him, man. And I'm thinking like, was that supposed to be the other side of minstrel shows where it's like, yes, sir, and then turn into, oh, I am a beast, I'm a jungle ape, like type deal. You know what I mean?
So I think that first, like, just like with Ruby, white girl was like, hey, you're my friend, you're pretty, even though you're black. So even her fake friend was still racist. But I'm saying, but like once the minstrel got his trust, then it turned into, this is what I want you to do. Like it turned him into a murderer. I mean, he did kill the cop, so he wasn't positive for him. So I just think that's how the man with the black hat, that's how he interacted with him. But first he had to get on his team to say, I understand what you're trying to say to yourself, and then he tried to push him to do more like violent shit. That's he just used that as the image though, because that's the first thing that he saw.
All demons kind of did that because Lucky's demons was trying to kill her children. Like, she swung an axe at Ruby.
Yeah.
Right? She burnt the poor baby with the hot coal.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I remember those days.
That's some real black shit. The hair grease and everything. I was like, this is real. I was waiting for the hair dryer, but maybe they didn't have those 1953. My mom had one. Terry has one. I was waiting for the hair dryer. Like, I was like, damn.
Maybe the bubble?
Yeah.
I still have it somewhere.
I thought her cousin was
that reminded me of The Shining a whole lot. That was like definitely call back to The Shining with Jack Nicholson, just more of like the ghost kind of say, hey, you can just kill your family. And take the action. That was I thought. I mean, I know a lot of people are like, oh, this was like Get Out. And I was like, nah, this reminded me more of like The Shining.
Yeah.
More than, I mean, it has like Get Out stuff because okay, fine, if you want to talk about like, he would just say, oh, the racial stuff. I mean, all right, fine, Candyman had racial stuff. Okay.
Candyman,
that's one thing we gotta stop too. I get it. Jordan Peele like brought back black horror movies again or whatever. But let's not pretend like there wasn't black horror stuff in there. People need to stop. I'm getting tired of seeing all these damn reviews of the show, and they all say Jordan Peele, Jordan Peele. Oh man, this Jordan Peele inspired. No, motherfucker. If you want to really look at anything, Wes Craven. Like Wes Craven did movies that star black people. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, the homie who did like Candyman, like there's all the stuff that like Spike Lee produced, like Tales from the Hood and several other movies that star black people that was horror. Like you know, let's not pretend that Jordan Peele all of a sudden brought like race and horror to the limelight. No,
All right.
dude.
All right.
No, so I don't know. That just
We agree. There's certain scenes in here they completely stole from him though. Like those
no. Like what?
with Gracie, like I said, Gracie's stuff when she was like doing the whole dance shit, like that took me like to Us. Like when with the red light, like when she started, there was a couple scenes where she was like dancing, her eyes were real big, and she was like dancing. Gracie was dancing. It kind of reminded me of.
No, it reminds you, but it doesn't mean it was stolen. Okay, again, The Shining did that with Jack Nicholson when he randomly was like doing a little thing in the hallway with the axe in his hand or whatever, and he just did random jigs and whatnot.
Yeah.
There's so many horror movies where people who just go psychotic start doing random things. A lot of times dancing. No, just because you saw another black person did it before, does that mean
little
that
girl, those dark skinned. So okay, I see your point. The whole haunted house took me back to Poltergeist. I'm just saying. So the whole thing about if like your house is under some kind of dead people's area and now you're being haunted by it took me back to Poltergeist, for example. So I was like, that's why I got from there. So I was like, so yeah, I mean, yes, I too agree. It was inspired. A lot of different horror, genres inspired this story. Also from a representation perspective, as this, I thought the series was trying to address not only race representation but women representation. When I looked at the 5 directors who did these episodes, only one is black and the same, and it's a woman. Everybody else was a white man. So good luck for representation. for race and gender, we still haven't achieved much. Because the only people who can direct a black racism story is white men. One that's focused on the women.
and to your point, Lovecraft Country did a good job. Like a lot of episodes were directed actually by black women. Like and again, was not inspired by Jordan Peele because the book itself was created way before Jordan Peele came out with Get Out and Us. So there you go on that one. But so it is it's I don't know. I don't necessarily take a shot at directors if the director is not necessarily from the same culture. Just like I won't have a thing if a black director is directing a movie that has a whole bunch of white people in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like you know what I mean? Like why so if we ain't gonna get upset about that, then why are we gonna get upset about the vice versa? Especially, like that, you have black artists all the time trying to do movies that are dealing with other cultures, you know what I mean? So
no, it's just ironic to me. It's just ironic that a show that the series who's obviously trying to highlight disparities of definitely race and I think also gender. The creation of itself is the same thing. Like you don't show a lot of progress, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's why. I mean, that's the only reason I would bring it up for this particular series.
You got a little bit of black box in it too. Like even the picture behind you. Like if you look at the black box picture, and I don't know if that's an Amazon thing to tear the faces or whatever.
Oh.
And then when the cheerleaders were dancing and they were like falling apart and crackling and doing all that weird stuff. Kind of reminds me of black box.
Yeah. When that guy came out the box, when he was like, right, and I was like, oh shit. Like I was like, this is some wild shit. Like that whole thing was wild. When she was like, let's go downstairs to the cheerleaders. I like the cheerleaders are outside, girl. You don't see them cheerleaders? I see the cheerleaders. I was like, oh shit, she's about to die. I was like, oh man, they're gonna kill her in the basement. I
don't know why, but that little Jack in the Box, I was on the porch. I don't know why I thought something like weird was gonna come out. I was bracing myself like, oh my God. I know whatever's going to come out is going to have a black face, but is it going to be crawling out like a monster too? Like what's going on?
I was so, after everybody's comments on this thing, I was, not that it wasn't graphic, not that it wasn't like racist. I was prepared for like a black man being drugged by a car or like hanging or like they kind of had to hang it, but like a cross, like a legit cross burning, like an actual like KKK people. Like I was like, what? How far is this shit gonna go? So like it was bad, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Not that it needed to be. I'm saying, but I was like, how much more how far deep can they go? They gouged out the couple's eyes, hung them upside down, and burned them. So they took it to the level. I mean,
I think some of the people that are probably like, oh my god, this show's graphic. I mean, sorry guys about to say this, but a lot of them probably were born in the 90s in the sense of like maybe they didn't were raised on like movies like Rosewood. Like if you've seen Rosewood, right?
Yeah.
Remember how pretty graphic that movie was? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what, like, you know, they were shooting those little black kids and stuff. You know, it's.
You said they strong. They were raised on the shit that we watched. Look how messed up it turned out.
Like I remember watching Amistad and then watching like literally some dude commit, like, because they were on the boat and he's in shackles and they're naked, and he committed suicide by jumping off the ship, and some woman who was shackled to her all of a sudden gets dragged into the ship too, and she's like, and she just drags into the water. Y'all don't know if y'all think this is graphic, come on now. I would say there's some disturbing scenes, like again the scene in North Carolina, what happened to Lucky. Yes, I would give you that. I mean, anytime you saw anyone that's getting sexually assaulted, I mean that's going to be graphic. I mean, I hate to say it's not uncommon for movies, but but still, but I didn't find anything really graphic, like even like them taking off to like the homie's fingers and whatnot. I was like, yeah, this is not even like, this is like, I could see that on Saw, on the AMC version of Saw, like of the movie Saw, like, you know what I mean?
I
got you. It just wasn't that big of a deal to me necessarily.
Ruby sticking that stiletto up to that man's ass was graphic.
That was graphic.
I mean, hell, Lovecraft Country was more graphic when you got the freaking tails coming out of homegirl's eyes and going up to dude's butthole.
Yeah,
like,
that's real shit.
Now that's graphic, and then he just explodes.
I was like, oh, but that's HBO money. You can't fuck with HBO. I mean, like that's a whole different level.
Yeah.
Like,
you want some graphicness, then go there.
Watch Game of Thrones, and you'll throw up. You're like, oh shit! Like what happened? He punched this dude's eyes out. Like he just squeezed his head.
Oh.
Remember that shit?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I was like, damn.
Thanks.
Anyway,
thank you for reminding me.
We're getting off track. All right. So anything else for them? But before we let go, Chris.
So what was the significance of the tap dance man actually being white? I guess because at first I was thinking maybe is that
that's
real, but no, it was just some random white guy, right?
No, it was just a random white dude. It was just a metaphor. Just like a lot of times black performers weren't even black; they were white. They were white actors, and there was a cheaper way. It was a way that they kind of pay these actors, you know what I mean? And try to, because I think the minstrel before there was actual men. Well, there were always minstrels, but you have black people doing minstrel shows, and then sometimes they weren't too giddy enough for white audiences, or sometimes they didn't want to feel like paying them. So like, well, we got these white actors who want to get paid. We put them in blackface and just kind of have them say the most absurd shit. So I think that was really just more of a metaphor of just more of like, he thought getting rid of the makeup was going to be him. You know what I mean? And actually, he realized because even though his wife snapped him out of it, that it wasn't him. It was just, it wasn't him this whole time. You know what I mean? It was just the white man basically the white man wanting you to be that. You know what I mean? And
so the actual an actual black man played the character. It's just like when at the end, there was a black man overall, but when it was Darth Vader. They just did the whole Darth Vader thing. It was just like that's all it was. But reverse though.
Yeah, James Earl Jones, but then some other random dude like, who this dude? That ain't James Earl Jones.
Wait. On the inside, Darth Vader was a white man, but he sounded like a black man. Think about it. Oh, anyway.
I'm looking forward to the second season. I think they're going to go with American Horror Story is actually what this kind of reminded me of too. I think they're going to go the American Horror Story route. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, because AMC already greenlit the second season already." And a lot of people are like, "Ooh, where the Emery's going to go next time?" I'm not convinced that the next season is going to necessarily be about them. I think it could go in the route of both American Horror Story and what was that show? The other AMC show we watched. With Julia Roberts about the pills, about the soldiers taking the pills to forget.
Amazon, dude. Amazon. You keep saying AMC. I'm confused. Amazon.
Oh, Amazon. I thought I said Amazon, but anyway, but you know what I'm talking about.
I know you're talking about.
I think it's called Homecoming, and then the second season.
It was connected though.
Even though it's in the same universe, it was a different story. So I feel like they're going to go that same route. So the next season, I don't think the main story is going to be on Emery. Clearly, with the
reverse racism.
Yeah. How about that?
If that's the thing. But
I don't know. The thing's called them. So the fact that them is dealing with black folks, I think it's going
next
to be in the
time,
sense.
them will be white people.
And they'll be them. Them will be that's right. It's gonna be them,
Well, no,
not us.
Yeah. I think like we're gonna see like a pair. Like we're gonna see maybe the same characters kind of intersect in the second season. But I don't think the Emery is going to be the main characters in the second season. My
same actors though. Like I agree with the American Horror Story vibe. I begin with the American Horror Story vibe. They're going to jail. Like they continue the story. They ain't no way in the world they're walking away from this. Like so, they're definitely going to jail. So I see the actors just doing a whole nother story, like in a different time phrase. And like I said, to kind of mix it up, it would be good. Like because the American Horror Story did a great job of doing different genres, but still that horror piece. Like I do like that. That'd be kind of interesting. All right, I didn't know it was a season 2. Thank you, Chris. I know that they got picked up for a season.
It was just announced about a month ago or so.
All right, see, that's why he comes to us for the active knowledge. Stacey, anything else before we go?
No.
All right, guys.
One last thing: stop taking our job, yo.
Chris,
come on, man.
That's a whole other video.
South Park. They're taking our job.
Get your jobs, man. Why'd you have to tell me that?
I was triggers you. Oh man, that's hilarious.
More than the black face and the dolls hanging. This one triggered me more than anything else.
Damn it! Only American blacks can show our own oppression. We can't let other people do it. That's us.
No, we don't. We're not anymore. We don't. We don't
own it anymore.
We're not. No, Harriet. We ain't doing that. Martin Luther. We ain't doing it in Selma. We didn't do it in Harriet.
That's true.
We didn't do it 12 years a slave.
That's I don't know, man. All right.
Wow.
So
what you going to do? In the words of Tap Dance Man, what you going to do, Henry? What you going to do, nigga? Like, yeah. Come on.
We talk about that, Chris. So, but all right. So
that's a line in there, and I'm gonna keep to it when I say what you gonna do, nigga. There.
All right, guys. Okay. Well, thank you, Chris. Well, all right, guys. We thank you guys very much for watching. I hope this review was you thought it was going to be. I hope it wasn't too controversial. If you're still watching, appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. We got a lot more of this stuff coming. Everyone, please comment on the video, share the video, hit the notification bell. I'm gonna start saying that shit, even though I don't know how to do it. Hit the notification bell so you can get our new videos or whatever. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers. We got a lot more black stuff coming this week. So we got Snowfall. We got Still Coming. They Still Black. We got Ruthless. They're kind of black. What else we got? We're black. The Oval. They got black people in it. It's pretty black. We're gonna get back to Power. They're still black. Yeah. Anyway, we got black stuff. So we got very much appreciate it. And as always, take care of yourselves and each other. And hopefully we'll see Chris for Black Falcon and White Wolf. We're finishing that up on Friday. So we're gonna do that. Yes. Yeah. And we got Loki coming. We got a lot of things coming. Eventually, book 3 is gonna start. Shit. I mean, we gotta get Power book 3 and Force. Force is coming at some point. And Family Business. We got Family Business next month. And that Black show on Stars. It's kind of like Insecure. Remember? I see anything. Anyway.